Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 237 based on novel. So let's start. I really can't imagine that the dignified 12 souls will also be beaten like this by a little Yinhunshan powerhouse. The whole sky just darkened, and a gloomy smile suddenly emerged. Huanhao, stop talking nonsense. If it wasn't for the undead leaves on me, how could I be caught by these guys? The black-robed man didn't seem to give up and explained. You take the undead leaves first, and I'll stop you here. The gloomy voice came out. The gloomy voice fell, and a pitch-black aura instantly entangled the black-robed man, so he quickly escaped from here. He Fang Xiao, get out of here. Yu Gan saw the immortal leaf that was about to be handed flying directly, and couldn't help roaring. His breath was even more violent, and he was ready to catch up in a blink of an eye. Your opponent is me. The gloomy voice rang out, and then Yu Gan was easily intercepted. Bastard. Seeing that his actions were blocked by this strange black air, Yu Gan couldn't help but stopped and cursed. This black aura is full of eerie auras, even more terrifying than ghost chi. It's no wonder that Yu Gan would give up the undead leaves, because the guy in front of him is even more terrifying. Although you have a fighting spirit, I see how you look now. Forcibly devouring the fighting spirit like this is not a waste of life, and the power of the fighting spirit that you can exert is less than 9 out of 10. How do you fight me? As soon as he finished speaking, the gloomy laughter suddenly appeared. What was reflected in Yu Gan's blood-colored pupils was a figure who was also wrapped in a black robe, but the aura on this guy was undoubtedly much stronger than that of the original black-robed man. Samsung fighting immortal? Although Yu Gan said that his blood-colored pupils had suffered the backlash from his fighting spirit, he was still awake, and naturally he was aware of his strength. Bingo. But the reward is to send you to hell. Huanhao's voice just fell, and immediately under the black robe, 3 pitch-black chains with thick arms appeared directly, and then with a fierce breath, he launched an attack. On the dark chains, there are mysterious runes that are exactly the same as those of the black-robed man who has escaped. It's chains again. Xiao Yan couldn't help frowning when he saw this. Obviously, these chains were no strangers to him, and they were the usual tricks of the Soul Clan. When the Soul Clan was far away in the Dochi continent, its predecessor was the Soul Body, so they used the power of chains to hunt the Soul Body, in order to step into the Emperor Realm Soul and break through the Do Emperor, but I didn't know the Soul Clan in this great world. What a look. Huanhao? The 12 souls. Are these guys from the Ghost Kingdom? After a brief thought, the Master of Soul Eater also spoke slowly, his voice full of inconceivable. The Kingdom of Ghosts. Xiao Yang frowned upon hearing this. The Ghost Kingdom is undoubtedly the most mysterious force in the ghost world. Even a big man like the Soul Eater knows very little about it, let alone other powerhouses. It seems that the Soul Clan you are talking about seems to have something to do with the Ghost Kingdom, so be careful in the future. The kind of chain attack they used is also dangerous for me now. The Soul Eater said lightly. However, the Lord of Soul Eater is also puzzled. He remembers that the supreme ruler of the Ghost Kingdom is not very powerful. If they were the Soul Clan, why didn't he find out when he was in charge of the Soul Eater domain? This Ghost Kingdom is definitely inseparable from the Soul Clan, but it's hard to say what the relationship is. Let's go after that black-robed man first. The undead leaf is indeed on him, and I left something on him just now. Xiao Yang smiled. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Yang disappeared here. Xiao Yang's soul power is very huge. As long as he is not a strong man who majors in soul power, he will not be able to find the soul mark left by Xiao Yang on the black-robed man. City Lord, what should I do now? He couldn't help frowning when he saw this rapidly changing situation. We can't break the seal of undead leaf, so it's useless to recover it. And looking at the appearance, it is definitely not a small force behind the 2-star Dozian Perfection Powerhouse and the 3-star Dozian Powerhouse. Let's keep an eye on Yu Gan and the black-faced tiger and the scarred wolf. Once they are at a disadvantage in the battle against the mysterious powerhouse of Samsung Dozian, they will be completely wiped out at all costs. As long as they are obliterated, the turmoil in our Ghost King city will naturally dissipate. Deadwind said, his expression full of seriousness. Okay. After Deathwind finished speaking, everyone stood up in an array. Bastard. Looking at the oncoming 3 huge chain attacks, Yu Gan suppressed the anger in his heart and shouted loudly, but he didn't dare to hesitate, still running the violent aura all over his body. A circle of red, the energy ripples stubbornly resisted the attack of the 3 chains. I think your strength is also in the early stage of the 3-star fighting immortal, but your source is damaged, so you can't step into the 3-star fighting fairy all your life. Presumably this reason is the consequence of forcibly swallowing the fighting spirit. Hun Hao he smiled unhurriedly. I came here mainly to support Sol Wuya. As long as Sol Wuya brings the undead leaves back, then their masters will naturally have a way to find the undead fire. When they have the undead fire, they have the strength of the ghost kingdom. It can be described as 1,000 miles in a day. Old bastard, you will pay the price for your stupidity. Yu Gan seemed to be trying his best to suppress the backlash of the fighting spirit in his body, so he could only defend passively. Does it take defense as attack? But I won't give you a chance. The immortal leaf is ours, and anyone who knows about it must die. Also, your fighting spirit is very weak, but I want it too. At the end of the sentence, the voice of Huan Hao was suddenly filled with a hint of greed. There is no specific strength of the fighting spirit. The strength of the fighting spirit depends on the strength of the master, but each person can only devour one fighting spirit in his entire life. The fighting spirit Tilda can only stare blankly, which is why their 12 souls still have no fighting spirit. They don't look down on weak fighting spirits like Yu Gan, otherwise, with their status in the Ghost Kingdom, how could they not find fighting spirits of this level? But they have great ambitions and have been waiting for more powerful spirits, the fighting spirit. Devouring powerful fighting spirits and increasing their strength by geometric multiples is their ambition. The birth of the fighting soul is similar to the holy flame, but it is different from the holy flame, but it is somewhat the same as the beast, because the fighting soul is a creature born from the aura of heaven and earth, similar to the holy flame of heaven and earth, but it is different from the world. Monsters are generally flesh and blood, with their own consciousness and even strength. While the holy flame is the ultimate representative of the fire attribute, the fighting spirit is a lot more noisy. At best, it is not as pure and powerful as the holy flame. Among the fighting spirits, there are also clear classifications. From high to low, they are divided into ordinary fighting spirits, spiritual fighting spirits, ground fighting spirits, heavenly fighting spirits, and even the divine souls that only exist in legend. And the undead ghost on Xiao Yang's body, even Xiao Yang doesn't know it, it is a powerful being at the peak of the Earth-grade fighting soul. Forget it, I don't have time to play with you. Otherwise, my aura spreads and attracts the powerhouses above your eastern continent. At that time, it will be difficult to escape, and things will be even more troublesome. Hun Hao looked into the distance, but there was a flicker in his black pupils. Smile. Ha ha ha. Since you and the guy just now are in the same group, when I capture you, I will definitely ask him where he is. You guys, you can't run far. The shadow is a bit more solid, apparently temporarily suppressing the backlash of the fighting spirit. You guy, you have some strength. Seeing Yu Gan temporarily suppressing the backlash of Do Soul, Hun Hao's expression became serious. Although Yu Gan was a strong man who devoured the fighting spirit and was attacked, in the final analysis, this guy is a strong man with fighting spirit. Hun Hao's strength is naturally also in the early stage of the 3-star Dozian. Although Yu Gan's strength can only be at the perfect level of the 2-star Dozian because of the fighting spirit, but using the power of the fighting spirit, he is enough to make up for this gap. The two of you are rare opponents. But today, I won't let you go. Since I got the fighting spirit, this is the first time I have used the power of the fighting spirit. Next, I'll let you appreciate the true power of this fighting spirit. Ha ha ha. After Yu Gan finished speaking, his entire body suddenly turned red, and the next moment, a red thunderbolt slowly gushed out from his body. A fighting spirit of the thunder attribute. Hun Hao took back his 3 soul locks when he saw this, and then said with vigilance in his eyes. The thunder attribute has possessed an extremely tyrannical power of destruction since ancient times, and when combined with the paralyzing effect, it can be said to be very terrifying. Boom boom boom. Every time the red thunder appeared on Yu Gan's body, it had a trace of violent aura like a soul beast. That aura made people shudder, and the phantom of the fighting soul was also slow. Emerge. What kind of fighting spirit is this? And when he felt such a terrifying red thunder, the expression on Huan Hao's face also became strange. Huan Hao naturally wouldn't be afraid of the power of ordinary thunder, but the red thunder on Yu Gan's body actually made him feel frightened. This was something that had never happened before. If Yu Gan was only wearing the most low-level mortal fighting spirit, Huan Hao would not be afraid, but if this guy devoured it, it was not the mortal fighting spirit, but the spiritual fighting spirit, then Huan Hao would have to stand guard. After reaching Dozian, the power of Dozian in the body is already strong enough. When using Dozian's power, its power is more vicious than Dozian's power. The force of Dozian inherits the fierce power of Dozian. For example, if you devour a mortal fighting spirit named Demon Wolf, then if you use the power of the fighting spirit, you will summon the phantom of the Demon Wolf, shrouding you, and all subsequent attacks will be carried with the ferocity of the possessed wolf and the power of its unique attribute. This is the most terrifying place for the fighting spirit. Just imagine, if a destruction-type powerhouse devoured a powerful defensive fighting spirit, you only need to use the power of the fighting spirit to summon the fighting spirit to defend, and one person alone can sweep the entire country. Such tyranny is the fighting spirit. Of horror. Spiritual product. The next moment, Hun Hao gave an evaluation, and just after Huan Hao's voice fell, on the body of the trunk in the sky, a giant ape shadow with a size of 100 meters appeared. This Du Hun phantom seems to be similar to Do D's body. Hun Hao said slightly. Blood Heaven Demon Ape. Not far away, the black-faced tiger and the scarred wolf's expressions changed drastically. This blood sky demon ape has a reputation for being vicious. The two of them have gone to crusade many times, but they have no choice but to return empty-handed. Unexpectedly, this fighting spirit was swallowed up by Yugan. The fighting spirits are different from ordinary magical beasts and even spirit beasts. They are very few in number, and most of them are pure energy bodies, so they are very easy to distinguish. Ha ha ha. As soon as the blood sky demon ape comes out, I'll see where you are going this time. Yugan's body was shrouded in the phantom shadow of the blood heaven demon ape, and he suddenly exuded a violent aura, and the power of red thunder continued in the phantom. It flows everywhere, bringing up bursts of lurse all over the sky. The blood sky demon ape is very strong, but how much power can you use now? Hun Hao said while running the power in his body, preparing to resist. Huan Hao is one of the 12 souls of the Ghost Kingdom. Naturally, he has the pride that belongs to him. Even if this demon ape is strong, he still cannot shake his pride. Blood Heaven Demon Ape roar. However, Yugan didn't give Huan Hao any chance to escape. He shouted loudly, and the phantom shadow of the Blood Heaven Demon Ape shrouded him suddenly drank. Yuanko took a breath, an indescribable terrifying sound wave spread out in an instant. Wherever the sound waves are caused, the grass, wood, mud and stones are all turned into powder in an instant. Not good. The demonic roar of this demonic ape is its life-saving means. Even a 3-star fighting fairy would not dare to touch it. Fast back. Seeing this, the black-faced tiger and the scarred wolf suddenly retreated, leaving the Yugan and the 200s of meters away in an instant. Bastard, I can't run away. Hun Hao watched the sonic attack that locked him away quickly. His face was pale, and a sense of powerlessness emerged. This blood sky demon ape is the most outstanding sonic attack, and for some reason, being swept away by this sonic attack, the power in his body is vaguely solidified, and he can't mobilize the slightest. Spiritual fighting soul is able to give you such a huge power, the more powerful fighting spirit that time, isn't it? Huan Hao didn't have a trace of fear, but there was a strange smile on his face. Soul sacrifice. The next moment, the invisible sound wave attack was about to attack him, and suddenly Soul Hao flicked his fingers, and a cloth bag with a rather delicate texture slowly appeared in everyone's sight. This is... Yugan just launched such a tyrannical attack, but when he saw this cloth bag, his pupils shrank tightly. As if there is something terrifying on this cloth bag. Ha ha ha. There are indeed some amazing guys under Yinhun Tiandongsu. Although the price is too high to do tilde, the immortal leaves are enough to make up for the price. Soul sacrifice, all souls ascend to heaven. As the voice of Soul Hao fell, a gloomy black air suddenly smashed the cloth bag. A gust of gloomy wind came, and hundreds of thousands of illusory after-images suddenly escaped from the cloth bag. This is a soul body. Seeing such a huge number of soul bodies emerging directly from the cloth bag, Yugan's pupils shrank tightly, and a touch of fear filled his heart. What about the fighting spirit? Let you try this power of 10,000 souls. Break me. And tens of thousands of soul bodies just emerged, and they ran away in all directions, but the next moment, Hun Hao's palm suddenly swelled up, grabbed it suddenly, and immediately grabbed these soul bodies, and then immediately suddenly squeezed. A shattering sound slowly sounded, and at the same time, a group of extremely bright blue light groups slowly brewed. Go to hell! Hun Hao suddenly swung his palm towards Yugan, but before Yugan could react, the bright cyan light burst through his sonic attack in an instant, so the next moment, he was about to attack. To yourself. Fighting Soul is an evolved version of the Fighting Emperor's body. Both of them form an energy phantom outside the body. And the fighting spirit can be simply understood as, if you devour any fighting spirit, you can use the fighting spirit skills. The previous body of Do Di was written down, and there was almost no drama. Now Do's spirit takes over the game. Old bastard. Seeing the cyan light coming towards his face, Yugan's blood-red pupils couldn't help but suddenly dilate. This azure light group is condensed by countless soul bodies, and the soul power has been related to the alchemist since ancient times. Unless the alchemist or some very special forces will cultivate, otherwise the soul power of normal people, all is too weak. And this weak soul power is undoubtedly a fatal point for them. Even if it is as powerful as Yugan in the early days of the 3-star Battle of Immortals, with a fighting spirit, and its soul power has just reached the Emperor realm, if it wants to deal with this attack that is purely formed by the condensed soul body, I am afraid it will be quite difficult. Bastard bastard. Yugan couldn't help scolding. This is the first time he heard of using the means of attacking the soul body, but at this time he obviously didn't have time to think about other things. The blue light group disappeared in a blink of an eye. It was the sonic attack that easily swept through his own, and slammed into the 100-meter phantom of his demon ape. The cyan light just hit the phantom of his demon ape, and the phantom suddenly screamed in pain. Although the blood sky demon ape is a spirit-level fighting spirit, it is a thunder attribute, but there is no way to deal with this kind of attack that is condensed by the power of the soul. The cyan light group just attacked the phantom, and immediately hit the source, causing quite serious damage to the blood sky demon ape. No! If it goes on like this, the blood sky demon ape will be wiped out by this soul attack. Yugan also felt the pain of the blood sky demon ape and couldn't help saying, if the fighting soul is swallowed, all the consciousness of the fighting soul will be assimilated by the master and become part of the master's strength, and the memory and power of the fighting soul will be inherited by the master, but Yugan's forcible swallowing, the blood demon. The consciousness of the ape is naturally backlashing all the time, so it is reasonable to have this appearance. Ha ha ha. The power of your fighting spirit is indeed tyrannical. If it weren't for the fact that I have something in the bottom of the box, I'm afraid I would have fallen under your sonic attack. It's a pity. Hun Hao on the side also smiled, but there was a trace of pain on his face. Tens of thousands of soul bodies. This is the result of his almost 3 years. If it is not for his own critical survival time, what kind of soul Hao was also reluctant to take it out? After all, if these tens of thousands of soul bodies are handed over, it can give him a lot of strength, but getting the immortal leaves is also a kind of compensation. It's a bit. You underestimate me. Blood demon ape. Swallow it for me. In the next moment, the red thunderbolts all over Yugan's body were as terrifying as a thunder field, but those red thunderbolts slowly penetrated his body, and all of them appeared to the phantom of the bloody demon ape. On top. What? With the emergence of those red thunderbolts, the 100-meter-sized body of the bloody demon ape that was about to be shattered has expanded several times, and even its breath has skyrocketed a lot. With a sound, the cyan light group was swallowed by the blood sky demon ape without a trace. The soul light group swallowed by the blood sky demon ape instantly came to Yugan. This soul light group is actually full of various emotions. The joys and sorrows. However, we're running out of time now. As soon as he finished speaking, Yugan opened his mouth slightly, took a sharp breath, and immediately sucked the cyan light into his belly. The power contained in this soul light group is too terrifying. If it is not solved, I am afraid it will destroy itself. And now the best solution is probably to swallow it. Asshole. Dare to absorb the source of the soul like this. Are you crazy? Looking at Yugan's actions, Hun Hao couldn't help frowning. It is extremely difficult to collect these tens of thousands of soul origins. In order to collect these soul origins, Hun Hao almost fell into the hands of human powerhouses several times, but even so, these soul light clusters are full of emotions, even he did not dare to absorb it rashly. But it was actually absorbed by this feather in front of you. Just after absorbing the soul light group, countless emotions rioted in its body. Obviously, although this soul source is a great tonic, it is also a poison. This guy, I'm afraid the mind has been disturbed by the blood sky demon ape. The source of the soul is powerful, but if it is swallowed so much, I am afraid that it will become a lunatic. Calculate the time. Soul Wuya should also be in a safe place, and I should go too. Lord of Li Soul, the revenge of our ghost kingdom will start from this ghost day. After Hun Hao finished speaking, his figure flashed, turned into a black chi, and headed into the distance. Sir. And the many strong men in the city lord's mansion hidden below couldn't help but say, go. By her, you bring a large army and bring the black-faced tiger and the scarred wolf to justice on the spot. As for Yugan, he's in a very bad situation right now, don't touch him first, just in case there's a scam. Dead Wind said. How about you, my lord? The old man on the side asked. That guy had a familiar aura just now, I have to go and find out. After Death Feng finished speaking, he flickered and immediately followed the direction of Hun Hao's disappearance. Do it, Bai he said in a deep voice, and then dozens of silhouettes burst out at the same time, facing the sky. Brother, what should we do now? I'm afraid this Yugan has gone crazy. On the side, in order to avoid the Scar Wolf who just used the power of the fighting soul to radiate the wave, he couldn't help asking. Do not care. Yu Quan just swallowed the Azure Light group. I'm afraid he's lost his mind now. We were walking on the tip of the knife since he failed. We must escape from here as soon as possible. I always feel that the atmosphere here is not right. After the black-faced tiger finished speaking, he looked around, but he didn't see anything. Let's go. Scar Wolf glanced at Yu Quan, who kept holding his head and screaming in the sky, swept his figure and fled into the distance. Fut. With a sound, the Scar Wolf just got up automatically, as if it had hit the wall for a year. What's going on? Scar Wolf looked at the transparent space in front of him, but didn't understand what was going on. Formation? We were surrounded. The black-faced tiger also frowned and said slowly. Black-faced tiger, Scarred Wolf, let's capture it. You are already guilty of serious sins, and you even colluded with the Yu family and plotted against the law. I am ordered by the city master to kill the two of you. At the next moment, dozens of figures lined up one after another and appeared in front of the two. If you want to capture us, let's see if you have the ability. Do it. The black-faced tiger's face sank. He knew that the strength of the two of them would not be able to defeat the elite of the city lord's mansion in front of him, but right now, there was nothing to do. If the two of them are captured by these guys, I am afraid that what awaits them is death. However, although the two of them are quite strong, but here are the elites of the city lord's mansion, and it is only a matter of time before they are captured. And with the end of the matter here, Xiao Yang's figure also slowly chased after Sol Wuya with the undead leaves. Damn Huanhao, you actually see me laughing. When I go back to the kingdom of ghosts this time, I will offer you the undead leaves, and I will see how you can compete with me. Han Wuya took the undead leaves and hid his breath, but he fled here quickly, cursing along the way. Obviously, even if he, Han Wuya and Han Hao, are both the 12 soul venerables, there are constant grudges between them. I don't know why the Lord of 10,000 Ghosts is looking for Sheng Yang. Although the undead leaves are relatively high in strength and ranking among the holy flames, for us people in the ghost world, only 2 holy flames can be swallowed. Annihilated in an instant. Wait. Could it be that the Lord of 10,000 Ghosts has found a way to devour other holy flames? Han Wuya stopped briefly and said to himself, what's the secret of this undead leaf? The more he thought about it, the more wrong it became. He simply stopped, looked for an uninhabited rock, and gently took out the undead leaf. If I can get the immortal leaf, I'm afraid I can surpass the 12 souls and enter the top level of the Ghost Kingdom. At that time, I will have all the resources I need to enjoy. Han Wuya thought, and carefully looked at the immortal in front of him. Yi, trying to find out its hidden secrets. Do it now. The huge soul power perfectly concealed Xiao Yang's breath, and then Xiao Yang couldn't help asking behind the trees that were less than tens of meters away from Sol Wuya. Wait a minute, this guy seems to know something about the undead leaf. The Soul Eater said lightly. Just after he finished speaking, the core inscription of the divine movement in Xiao Yang's body kept squirming, and the mysterious and unpredictable power was silent. Wrapped here. Why is this undead leaf wrapped in ice? As soon as Soul Eater's voice fell, he heard Sol Wuya's voice full of inconceivable. No. It's better to say that this layer of ice protects the undead leaves instead of wrapping it up. Could it be that the holy flame of undying fire has something to do with ice? Sol Wuya said after taking a closer look. This place is already out of the jurisdiction of Ghost King City, and it is rarely crowded. In addition, Han Wuya has carefully inspected and there is no breath, so I can look at the immortal leaves with confidence. Let's break the ice layer first. After a while, there was still no progress, and then Sol Wuya said. As soon as the voice fell, there was no soul in the palm of the hand, and circles of extremely strange ghosts emerged, facing the ice cage. This guy is indeed a person from the ghost world. Looking at the extremely strange ghostly aura on Han Wuya's body, the Lord of Soul Eater said. Among the ghost world, there are 3 identities in total. The most powerful aura is the aboriginal inhabitants of the ghost world. Only these aboriginal residents can use ghost aura, and a powerhouse like Death Wind, although possessing the spirit of fighting immortals. Power, but it does not use ghost energy. Its identity is that after human beings die, their 3 souls and 7 souls or complete souls enter the ghost world, so they continue to live here as another existence, although it is indeed still alive, but it is already the body of a soul, and resurrection is almost impossible. In the human world, once a human being dies, if the 3 souls and 7 souls or the complete soul body enters the ghost world, they will be judged to have fallen completely. Gulu. The extremely strange black air just touched the ice cage, and was immediately purified by the ice cage. Strange thing. Why can't this ice cage be cracked? Hun Wuya also shook his head, obviously using all his strengths, but still there was no way. What the asterisk is this ice cage? Hun Wuya couldn't help frowning. Obviously, the ice cage that protects the undead leaves is quite powerful, and even his 2-star Dozyan perfection cannot be cracked. Forget it, let's go first. After a struggle, nothing changed, and then Hun Wuya carefully put away the ice cage, and then prepared to escape from here. Why are you leaving in such a hurry? Just when Sol Wuya just put away the undead leaf ice cage, when he was about to leave, he suddenly felt that this space was filled with an extremely violent flame force. The terrifying power vaguely made Sol Wuya feel a little uneasy. Sol Wuya, as one of the 12 souls of the Ghost Kingdom, naturally uses a spooky ghost energy, and Xiao Yang uses the core inscription of the divine life to cast the formation, adding the power of the holy flame, and wants to deal with a wounded. The completion of the 2-star fighting immortals naturally has the power of a battle. After all, Shenyang is the nemesis of ghosts. Who? Sneaky. Get out for this deity. The next moment, feeling the huge flame aura, Hun Wuya's face hidden under the black robe couldn't help grimace, and let out a loud cry. Now that I am full of scars, if I go down here, I am afraid I will be consumed by this guy. After all, the flame on this guy is too powerful. Leave the undead leaves to keep you safe. Xiao Yang said condescendingly while standing in his own formation. The space here has been surrounded by the formation formed by the core inscription of his own divine movement, and he has also injected the power of holy flames. In this formation, his strength has undoubtedly been enhanced a lot, and the soulless cliff the strength has been weakened too much, not to mention that he is now seriously injured. Ha ha ha. 1-star fighting immortals tilde also want to touch the undead leaves. I think you are talking about a dream. Although Sol Wuya was injured, but forcibly supported the injury in the body so that no one could find out, and directly faced the Xiao Yang said disdainfully. The gap between the Dozyan powerhouses is not a little bit. Even if Sol Wuya is injured now, trying to kill Xiao Yang in the early stage of the 1-star Dozyan is as simple as squeezing an ant. This is the absolute crushing of strength. Pressure. Look at the move. At the next moment, Xiao Yang also did not give Sol Wuya any chance to counterattack. Blue-yellow flames appeared all over his body, and the eternal fire hung ancient ruler behind the figure was instantly removed. Burst out from the formation. This guy has such a terrifying flame energy. Why have I never seen it before? Although Hun Wuya was proud, he did not dare to take it lightly in the face of the mysterious blue-yellow flame power on Xiao Yang's body, and a dark ghostly energy emerged from his body, trying to resist. Boom. Ihua ancient ruler with overwhelming breath, suddenly attacked in front of Sol Wuya, and the blue-yellow flame on the Ihua ancient ruler was touching the ghost energy of Sol Wuya. At that time, there was a sound of joy, and in an instant, the ghostly energy that the soulless cliffs used to resist Xiao Yang's attack actually collapsed. At the same time, Hun Wuya's face also became extremely ugly, and the corners of his dry mouth couldn't help but emerge. How is it possible? It's actually the power of holy flame. Damn, how could you have holy flame? You can't be from the ghost world at all. Who are you? Hun Wuya's figure was knocked back dozens of meters by Xiao Yang's blow, and his voice kept roaring. I am the one who took your life. Xiao Yang was not talking nonsense. He was brewing a huge offensive. Since the power of the holy flame suppressed him, he would naturally use thunder to obliterate him and cut off future troubles. Our ghost world is independent. If you humans from the 6 worlds enter our ghost world, they will undoubtedly be wanted by our ghost world. You're not from the ghost world at all, yet you are trespassing in the ghost world. Aren't you afraid of attracting the wrath of the great powers of our ghost world? Hun Wuya couldn't help shouting. His voice was full of madness. There are many creatures in the ghost world, but if you want to have a holy flame, you can only have 2, and the holy flame on Xiao Yang's body clearly contains a very strong aura, which is clearly not the original inhabitant of the ghost world. In addition to the fact that the ghost world is independent, it is quite harsh to the people of the other 6 worlds, which leads to their current appearance. You'd better worry about yourself first. Fortune Fizz. One punch jumps the mountain. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, the blue-yellow flames slowly wrapped around his fist, and then a wave of indifference brewed in that fist. Where the is this bastard? The guy with holy flame, I'm afraid. No, I have to go first, otherwise I'm very likely to fall into his hands. At this moment, Han Wuya temporarily dissipated all the pride in his heart, because he knew that even if it was his own 2-star Doshian perfect strength, in the face of a weak 1-star fighting immortal, it is also possible to capsize in the gutter. Not for anything else, just because he is seriously injured now, and even this guy has holy flames on his body. I want to leave now, it's too late. Pick me up. And how could Xiao Yang give Han Wuya a chance to escape? The blue-yellow flames above his fists became more and more intense, and even above the good fortune punch, a terrifying coercion that shook the world and then shook the world, came suddenly. Han Wuya had no defense, and was directly hit by Xiao Yang's fierce punch. Suddenly, there was no bone-shattering sound, but a strange, rustling sound that slowly dissipated. Little chops. This deity has to kill you. With such huge damage to his body, Sol Wuya couldn't help roaring, his voice was full of madness. Susu. At this moment, the soul without cliffs directly took off the black robe covering him, revealing his original appearance. Soul body. With the disappearance of the black robe, the true face of Sol Wuya was also revealed. Xiao Yang just saw this and couldn't help but be surprised. What caught Xiao Yang's eyes was an almost transparent phantom. That phantom was clearly the smell of the soul. The so-called soul body exists separately from the human body. This is also Xiao Yang Yuan on the Dochi continent, and he knows that it is the usual trick of the soul clan. They themselves are soul bodies, so they use some special chain methods to capture other souls. Body, thereby swallowing up the power. Boom boom boom. Sol Wuya's soul body was just revealed, and there was a gust of gloomy wind in this formation. The power of holy flame, burn me. And Xiao Yang didn't dare to take it lightly. When he saw this guy showing his true body, he frowned, and holy flame crystals continued to emerge in his body, and then suddenly burned in the formation, which contains the incomparably strong and holy aura of Sheng Yang, which even vaguely and directly forced the soul body of Sol Wuya to retreat. Little bastard. Han Wuya, who showed his true body, couldn't help roaring while dealing with the power of the holy flame and at the same time resisting Xiao Yang's attack. You. A person from the Soul Clan? Xiao Yang couldn't help but ask tentatively as he looked at the retreating Sol Wuya. What? How could you possibly know about the Soul Clan? Hearing Xiao Yang's words, the expression of the Sol Wuya soul body changed dramatically, his eyes fixed on Xiao Yang. It seems that my guess is correct. But it's okay, they are all old rivals. Xiao Yang smiled slowly. As soon as the voice fell, the blue-colored holy flame crystal and the khaki-yellow holy flame crystal suddenly appeared on his hands. This Sol Wuya's soul body strength can reach the perfect strength of the 2-star Dosyan. Xiao Yang's current strength in the early stage of the 1-star Dosyan, if he wants to destroy him, I am afraid it will be a bit difficult. However, the soul lock of Sol Wuya was broken by Yu Gan, which caused a serious injury to the source. In addition, Xiao Yang was carrying 2 kinds of holy flames at the same time, so it was not difficult to deal with this guy. Impossible. 2 kinds of holy flames? The next moment, Han Wuya looked flustered, staring at Xiao Yang as if he were looking at a monster. His eyes were full of awe. In the vast world, let alone his little ghost world soul, even some real powers, I am afraid there is no precedent for possessing 2 kinds of holy flames at the same time, but now in front of him, it is the one who possesses 2 kinds of holy flames. Duo Shenyang human? It's time to end. The undead leaves are mine. As for the secrets of your soul clan, I, Xiao Yang, will thoroughly investigate one day. Xiao Yang gently twisted the 2 saint flame crystals in his hand, and suddenly there were khaki liquid and cyan liquid, flowing out slowly, blasting away at Sol Wuya. And the 2 kinds of liquids are the power of the source of the 2 holy flames. The guy who can be dealt with by Xiao Yang using the 2 kinds of holy flames at the same time is enough to be called a strong one. Xiao Yang. You are the Xiao Yang in the lower realm who destroyed the strength of our soul clan branch. Hearing the word Xiao Yang, Yu read www.ukangshu.com. Sol Wuya suddenly understood something. Hey, wait. When Xiao Yang heard the words, his face changed greatly, because from the shock of the soulless cliff just now, he knew something, and then he couldn't help but take back the source of holy flame, trying to ask what traces he found. It's a pity that things backfired. The 2 sources of holy flames were like a dam bursting, and they came to the Sol Wuya in an instant, and then attached to their soul body and suddenly burned. Boom boom boom. The khaki flame and cyan flame turned into a raging fire, instantly burning the soulless soul body clean. Sol Wuya's strength is indeed the perfect 2-star fighting immortal, but the source is damaged, and when two kinds of holy flames are shot at the same time, it is naturally so vulnerable. Hey, it's a miscalculation. Xiao Yang reluctantly came to the place where Sol Wuya was destroyed, and gently took out the remaining holding ring, carefully checked it, and the undead leaf ice cage was indeed inside, and then carefully took it out. Thus, the Nana ring will be completely wiped out. It's time to go back. Undying Yi and Do Sol, it's time to start. Xiao Yang smiled slowly, then dissipated the formation in an instant, and headed towards the Ghost King city. Xiao Yang's figure just left, and the figures of Sol Hao and Deathfoam also appeared in the place where the two had just fought. Not good. Hun Wuya was actually plotted against. Hun Hao's eyes turned cold, and then he swiftly walked towards the place where Hun Wuya fell. This video will end here.